I've been doing this quite a while now, and I have not been shy in the past on my opinion on choosing Medicare Original over Medicare Advantage. And there are a number of different reasons that I would do whatever I could to stay with Original Medicare as opposed to Medicare Advantage. And one of those big reasons is cancer. And it is too often that I get a phone call from somebody with a relative, a spouse, a family member that has cancer and is on Medicare Advantage and wants to get off. They need to get off Medicare Advantage. And it's in a situation where in 95% of the cases, I can't help. There is no way to get off of Medicare Advantage once you have something like cancer, because you need to go through medical underwriting to get a Medigap or a Medicare supplement policy. You could go back to Original Medicare, but you would not be able to get a Medicare supplement policy that covers the big gaps in Original Medicare, especially with something like cancer where the cost would be prohibitive. So now we have a recent study, and this study was done by the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Medicine, which I certainly find very credible, that talks about some of the differences between Medicare Advantage and Original Medicare. And I'm going to go through that right now so that we understand these differences. And again, the main driver or difference between these two, Medicare Advantage is privately run insurance, for-profit companies, where traditional Medicare, Original Medicare, it's government run, it's not for-profit. And it's kind of crazy how it functions this way, because it almost should be the opposite, where privately run insurance should maybe treat you better and get better outcomes. That's the whole point of paying them, to take you off Original Medicare. But what we find now is that Medicare Advantage actually costs more to the taxpayer than Original Medicare. So our government-run Medicare is less expensive, and not only is it less expensive, it has better outcomes. And it lets you do the things that you need to do, the things that your doctor wants to do, whether it's related to cancer or anything else. But in this Harvard study, we have the differences between the two. And what it says, and I'll quote right from the article, I'll also link the article below this video so that you can take a look at it yourself. The actual study, just like most studies, is pretty convoluted. And if you're not a doctor, it's hard to kind of decipher exactly the stuff that we want, but they kind of break it out pretty simply. The study found that Medicare Advantage patients experience, on average, 10% longer treatment durations compared to their traditional Medicare counterparts. So what does that mean? It takes 10% longer to get your treatments completed under Medicare Advantage. And a big reason for that is pre-authorization. If you are in a cancer situation, the last thing you want is pre-authorization, because it just is a roadblock and a hurdle to get through, not only for your doctor, but for you to get the treatment that you need. To have pre-authorization in the way is just ridiculous. And Original Medicare, they don't have pre-authorization. If your doctor says, we need to try this, we need to go here and do this, you do it. You don't have to go and ask for permission. That's a major reason why I will never choose Medicare Advantage. And there's certainly plenty of people on Medicare Advantage. I don't do this to scare anybody. I just do this to make everyone aware of how they function and give my opinion, where I would absolutely choose any way I could to stay with a traditional Medicare and a Medicare supplement plan, as opposed to giving my rights away to a for-profit Medicare Advantage plan. Now, it goes on to say in this study, our study found that Medicare Advantage radiotherapy episodes were less likely to include use of more advanced technologies, such as proton therapy and stereotactic radiotherapy. So I have not been in a cancer situation. I don't know what those are, but those are the more expensive parts of cancer treatment. Several factors may include, so why would Medicare Advantage not include these as part of treatment? To the decreased use of proton therapy, first, Medicare Advantage plans may use prior authorization to limit use of more costly therapies. Back to that pre-authorization, where you have to get it approved first, where your doctor says, we need to do this. Ooh, it's a bit expensive, and your Medicare Advantage plan says, no, we're not going to pay for that. And again, if you're in a life-threatening situation with cancer, it just would be devastating. Secondly, proton therapy is typically offered at large academic cancer centers, and Medicare Advantage networks might favor contracting with smaller health systems to contain costs. So they may not have access to places like Mayo Clinic, other major cancer-specific hospital treatment centers, and therefore you don't have access to those centers. Under original Medicare, you do. If they take Medicare, you can go anywhere you want in the country and not have to ask permission to do it. So again, gets back to, if we're perfectly healthy, Medicare Advantage, fantastic. It's not until we get to a position where, and God forbid, maybe we'll never get there, that would be fantastic. But if you are in a position of having a chronic, life-threatening, long-term illness type situation, you will 100% want to be on traditional Medicare so that you don't have these speed bumps and these hurdles. Now, the study found also that the main treatment length was significantly longer for Medicare Advantage episodes compared with traditional Medicare. Episodes across the technologies and the three most common cancer types. This aligns with our finding that in the Medicare Advantage episodes, radiotherapy, stereotactic radiotherapy, which may require fewer treatments, was less likely to be used. So it's going to extend the period of time that you're in treatment, and God forbid anybody that's been through chemotherapy knows you don't want to be doing it any longer than you absolutely have to be doing it. But the less expensive methods are more likely to be used, according to this study, in Medicare Advantage than on traditional Medicare. And again, on traditional Medicare, they're not talking about cost. They're not talking about what's going to be less expensive to use. Your doctor is going to say, this is the better option, and this is where we have the best chance to beat the cancer, as opposed to let's figure out financially what might be the least expensive route to go, and we'll kind of go from there. And if it doesn't work, maybe we'll try something else. Not at all what I would want in my healthcare, especially if I have something of significance. And again, we're not doing this to scare but I would be scared. I mean, it would scare me if I were on Medicare Advantage and my options were limited. And I've watched a few TV things recently with people with cancer, and it's just not a good scenario. There's one celebrity right now that has some brain cancer issues, son or daughter of a famous rock star. You may have read about her. Just wouldn't want to be in a position when we're trying to beat that, to be worried about how expensive it's going to cost my insurance company and will they pay for it going forward. So this is the reason that I have for many years said, anything I can do, I'm staying on traditional Medicare. I won't sell Medicare Advantage. I could easily sell Medicare Advantage. I could make a lot of money. I could make a lot more money selling Medicare Advantage, but I just would not want the phone calls to come in where, again, you have a situation where you're trapped in that situation. Now, the last thing it talks about, a recent study showed that Medicare Advantage patients had lower chemotherapy and immunotherapy utilization and spending with similar survival outcomes compared with traditional Medicare. This one is kind of hidden in there, and I don't know why they don't put some bold highlighting on this when it says had lower utilization and spending with similar survival outcomes. What in the world does that mean? That means survival outcomes. A whole lot more people died because they had lower therapy usage going forward. So similar survival outcomes, kind of crazy. And again, that's in a type medical term, but I want to be in higher survival outcomes when I'm getting my cancer treatment, certainly with traditional Medicare. So again, cancer, it's going to affect, I don't know what percentage of us it's going to affect, but it's not a small percentage. It's certainly, if you have family history of it, you want to completely be aware, because again, once you're in, you can be trapped into Medicare Advantage. And once you get sick, you're likely not going to be able to get out of it. You need to make the right choices from the beginning. And what some people look at, Medicare Original with a supplement might cost a little more on the front side, but on the back side, it costs a lot less. So yes, when you use it, it's going to limit your out-of-pocket expenses significantly, where Medicare Advantage kind of gets you where it's more attractive coming in sometimes, but then they get you on the backside where the out-of-pocket expenses can be significantly higher. So very much get what you pay for. And with this type of thing, we want to pay for what we want to get. So we want to make sure we get in the right place. So I hope you found this helpful. And again, we're happy to help with any of it. We'll talk through it with you. We'll send you the quotes so you can see exactly what your costs will be. But just make sure that you do your due diligence and be comfortable with your decision so you don't have any crazy surprise when it comes time for something significant. So I hope you found this helpful. Subscribe to my channel. I'm happy to help with any of it. Have a fantastic day.